Hello everyone and welcome to another buff breakdown. I honestly wasn't expecting to do one so soon after the David buff with the release of Past Chaldea, but related to that, we have a new gacha banner for Past Chaldea featuring some servants, and one of them got buffed, and it's a cool one, that's for sure. It's a buff to OG Miss Crane, her first buff ever, so they actually decided to buff another 5-star caster support. In this case, it happens to be a skill buff, so let's dive right into it. So it is a buff to her first skill, so previously on a 5-turn cooldown, she gave the party besides herself a full turn of invul, 100% star generation rate for 3 turns, and then she got stars based on how many allies in the squad have the costume owning trait. For every applicable servant, she got 10 stars. And obviously this was pretty important because her MP, in addition to costing 100% gauge, you also need 20 stars to be able to even use it to begin with. So if you had 2 allies that have the costume owning trait, then and your second skill, which gave her a big battery, like a full battery, then you could fire off your MP instantly without needing to worry about getting more stars. So that was a very important part of this skill as well. So besides enabling her MP and protecting the allies and giving them I guess star gen, which is not that great, it was all right, I guess. Nothing too crazy, but let's see what they did. So now on the same 5-turn cooldown, everything I listed remains the same. So it's one of those buffs. They didn't change anything pre-existing, but we have several new lines. First of all, in addition to giving the party members all the stuff I listed besides herself, she now also gives them a 20% rainbow buff of card types for 3 turns. And also, this is very cool, 10% gauge per turn for 3 turns. Wow. So this might actually change some stuff. I'm not sure yet, but I feel like this could potentially be a very spicy buff. Because let's just recap some stuff she gives the allies. She gives them star generation, invul, gauge per turn, rainbow buff. She gives them, or one ally can get absorb, crit damage, and one ally from the MP can also get attack up and MP damage and flat gauge. So that's quite a bit of offensive buffs that she can dish out now for your 1 DPS. Very interesting. I kind of still would like to see an MP buff for her at some point, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe change the way how it works, because her MP obviously, gives one ally gauge, and you want to target on your DPS, because otherwise you're just wasting these damage buffs. But the problem is, because you would just end up wasting this anyway, because let's say you MP turn 1, well, that probably means you won't be using your DPS MP then, because you're just giving them gauge to begin with. Unless they have already high enough gauge, then yeah, you can just do it for the buffs, I guess. But at that point, it's kind of silly that this has this flat gauge to begin with. So I feel like they could maybe do some kind of a delayed approach here, that maybe after 1 turn or something. I don't know, I just the MP is still a bit awkward to me, but you can work around it, I guess. But I really wish it was a bit more easier to use, a bit more universal, if you will. But speaking of universal, she remains to be a very universal. She wasn't tied to any card type before, and obviously with this she won't be either, because it's a full rainbow instead of a specific card type, which I do really like. And of course the gauge per turn I actually like, because besides the 30% she gave from her MP, she did not give allies, or your 1 DPS, any kind of MP gauge. So she wasn't that high for that. But now with that is actually an interesting thing. I feel, does this actually open her up for some potential farming comps? Because I feel like Crane was only used in some kind of boss fights. To me, she was always the quote-unquote win more servant. You don't necessarily need her, but if you use her because she has the free rotate from her MP, it was basically say, hey, just have more buffs for your DPS, right? So that's why I classified her as like a win more servant. I was like, you're probably already winning the fight, but hey, here's some more buffs anyway. But with this, I don't know. Could there be some farming application now for her, besides being this win more servant for boss fights? I'm not sure, but this is certainly very interesting. I'm kind of happy they buffed her, because she doesn't really see a ton of use, even for people that have her, myself included. It's very interesting, but I still would like for them to make the MP a bit less awkward to use. But so far, this could actually make her very viable. I can't from the top of my head immediately come up with comps or anything, because this is literally me covering the buff as soon as it comes out. But let me know in the comments if you have ideas, and I'm sure some people will be experimenting a lot with this, because this could be a game changer. Not sure yet. So we had Miss Crane on A this year on the 5-star caster tier list, and with this, if there is actually application for her now proper, I think A+ would be totally fair, maybe even EX, depending on how crazy the application will be. But I'm gonna play it safe for now. I'll just keep her here. If we do this again next year, we'll probably have a rediscussion of her as well with this buff in mind. So potentially room for moving her up. But for now, I'm just going to play it safe and keep her here. Remains to be seen how impactful this is. So there you go. That's really cool. I'm very glad she got buffed. Especially now with the release of Past Chaldea, us getting our latest Archer of the End. We have seemingly a lot more support potential again, which is always welcome. So it's great because a lot of the times people just use the same supports and just tend to backstab out on bot and everything. So it would be nice if we get more of these supports that are actually way more viable, especially in farming, which I hope this buff will help with. There you go, that's the buff breakdown. If you enjoyed this video, do me a solid and press the thumbs up button on it. It really helps out, and do subscribe not to miss out on future videos, because whenever there's new buffs or any kind of sudden news, I will try my best to cover it instantly as soon as stuff comes out. So stay notified, ring that notification bell. Shout out to my patrons on the screen right now for supporting the channel. Thank you so much. And otherwise, have a great rest of your Friday, or whenever you're watching this. Happy weekend ahead, and I'll hope to see you in the next video. Bye.